everybody knows I'm not going to rehash the story of what happened in Florida the other day. That's just the tip of the iceberg. And right off the bat, I'll tell you, if that had happened in California, we never would have heard about it. As much as I hate to say it this way, I'm very grateful that it happened in Florida. It shouldn't have happened at all, really. But this has been a big problem that's been going on for the last 15 or 20 years. But over the last 8 to 10, it's gotten really bad. This is what happens when chickens come home to roost. This has always been a problem. But, you know, it started back, well, a long time ago. But, you know, when Reagan tried to give amnesty or did the amnesty thing, well, that backfired. George H.W. Bush, he did absolutely crap about it. Clinton, he did absolutely crap about it. They just act like it was all business as usual. W, don't get me started on W. But then Obama, they say he deported a lot of people, but he allowed a lot of this to happen too. You know, he was settling, he's part of the problem. Well, he's one of the main problems why we have so many illegal Somalis here now. Yeah. And they've become a real big problem in the trucking industry. And then you turn around and you get Trump. I don't think he really understood how big the problem was the first time around. But he started the deportations, he started the paperwork, and then Biden happened. When Biden happened, it's like they just let Genie out of the box. It just went absolutely nuts. And everybody's concentrating on the southern border. But let me tell you, it's not the southern border. Believe it or not, the southern border, those guys, they, for the most part, haven't had a lot of trouble. The weirdest thing about them is they come, they do their job, they don't want to be hassled. They do what they need to do. They pick up, they go home. They understand the risks, they understand the responsibility, and for the most part, haven't had a lot of trouble with them here. Now, the illegals that are here, that's a different story. They're not driving trucks back and forth across the Mexican border either. But what I've heard this from several law enforcement officers, and I've heard this from a lot of different places, is that it got to the point where they were told they couldn't enforce the law. They were told to give these people a pass. I know out in Garden City, where it's insanely prevalent, you've got semis out there without insurance, without real tags, without VIN numbers, and they are given a pass. Well, until recently, they're given a pass. And what's ends up happening is, well, they're burning all the locals. You got semis going down the truck with obviously forged tags. They're not getting pulled over, but the locals I know are getting pulled over for stupid things just to meet quotas. For anybody who says these guys don't have quotas, they're full of crap. They have to have quotas or they couldn't show any progress. If you didn't have a quota, you couldn't show any reporting. You couldn't have statistics without quotas. So, yeah, there's quotas. And so they've been harassing the locals, the people they know who are going to show up to court and pay. And it's become a real sore subject. The one thing I can say about the southern border is those people down there, well, they might try to hustle you, they might try to cheat you, they still respect the game. It's not the southern border that we have the problem with. No, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of illegals coming across, at least there were. It's the northern border. And I'll tell you right now, the northern border is the hot spot that nobody's wanting to talk about. The part that aggravates me about what's going on up there is if you show up there not speaking English, claiming asylum, free housing, free everything, free, it's a socialist country. All this humanitarian stuff, and there's an invasion going on up there, and they're making their way here. If I cross the border illegally, I go to jail. Go figure. If I cross the border to Mexico, I go to jail. And it's absolutely insane. And what I'm seeing down here is the people coming in from the northern border, they're not respecting the game. The thing is, all these rules people are screaming about, well, the media says people are screaming about, are rules that have been on the books for 30, 40, 50 years. And it's become a real big problem. But the truck drivers have been screaming about this for 25 years. It's becoming a big problem everywhere. And because the government has given these people free passes to basically do whatever the hell they want, it's turning into the Wild West. They don't respect anything. Because they know they have a free pass, they don't respect the truck stops. They trash everywhere they're at. They park anywhere they want. They throw their trash everywhere. They pee and poop all over everything. These are animals. I would call them feral people, but you have to say they were domesticated first in order to be feral. These people are off the hook. They have no interest in becoming Americans. And we have our government to thank. And now suddenly the government's like, this is a problem. No, we've been telling you it was a problem for 10 years. And it takes killing 3 people to bring that home. I'm not a bleeding heart. I don't give a crap. But I do care about the rules because I am forced to follow them. These rules are compulsory to me. If I violate the rules, hey, guess what? I'm just out. And if you're going to be in this business, you should have to follow the same rules I do. I'm required to speak English. I'm required to know road signs. I'm required to do a lot of things. That green book is a real serious deal. And you've got a segment of population out there that's ignoring that. But, something even worse has happened. When you started allowing these people in and started trying to legitimize people that were never supposed to be here, and you give them driver's licenses, suddenly these companies are hauling freight. Instead of $2.50 a mile, they're hauling it for 80 cents a mile. This is where the bottom feeders come in. They're being taken advantage of. If they were legal, legit, done their homework, and were working within the system, this wouldn't be happening. But because years ago there was a movie out there called Angel City. I don't know if you guys ever. It kind of reminds me of that. Basically, they get people to work on the migrant farms, but charge them about $10 more a week to live on the farm than they make. So basically these people become indentured servants. And they're basically drowning in debt, and these guys are hauling. And a lot of that's happening. You could probably call that trafficking, I don't know, but these guys are, 3 and 4 deep in a truck, and they're going 24 hours a day. When I tell you that, that's not a joke. There's 2, maybe 3 driver's licenses between the 5 of them, and they're just, one brown guy looks like another brown guy. It's not racist, it's a fact of life. That's what it looks like when you look at their licenses. And truthfully, most guys don't want to screw with it. And it's a scam that's gone on too long. So what do you do about it? I don't have an answer. My solution is to send them home. If they get caught, seize their vehicles and their cargo right there. Don't let anybody else drive off with it. Don't. Just seize their stuff. Stop them right there and ship them off. That's what should be happening, but that's not, and truthfully, that's not reality. It's not the world we're living in right now, but it needs to be, because I'll tell you right now, how many more of these bottom feeders are going to kill people on the highway before we start waking up? These are guys that are not trained. They have no business being here. They don't understand the culture, the language, the road signs, anything. And yet somehow they're qualified to drive an 80,000-pound vehicle down the highway. you can get mad at me all you want, but that's the facts. They're not qualified, and they're not supposed to be here anyways. I mean, any other country on the face of the earth that, you go into any other country for illegal immigration, there's huge and hefty fines. I mean, you go to jail in a lot of places. They don't play. So, why are they here? I'm going to tell you. You can get mad at me all you want. You can call me whatever you want on this. I don't care. These people were brought here to be a voting demographic. They weren't here to do the jobs we won't do. We were doing those jobs. They just didn't want to pay us. Simple as that. A lot of these guys just didn't want to pay us. And as long as they had their people in power and they were greasing all the right palms, they're getting away with murder. Literally, in some cases. And I'll tell you this, like with Amazon, I don't get on Amazon. That's not Amazon's fault for what's going on there. When these drivers come to them, they look good on paper. They have insurance. They have a real driver's license. Every requirement is satisfied. And it's really odd, but so that's why I haven't really said too much about Amazon, because, well, it is what it is. So, but a lot of these other guys going down the road, it's a big problem, It's a real big problem. I hate to be one of those guys that jumps on this immigration bandwagon. I find the whole thing distasteful. But I mean, it's gone on long enough. It's a much more serious problem than anybody in the news is making out. It's a huge problem. It's a huge, horrible problem. And everybody's just acting like it's business as usual. No, it's not. It's worse. It's much, much worse than they're making on. And it's going to get much, much worse before it gets better. Because I'll tell you right now what I'm seeing out here on the road. There's still these bottom feeders out there, but they're not stopping at scales. They're going to run this out till they're caught. And it might take a couple of years to catch a couple of them. A friend of mine was at the truck stop, saw a couple they didn't speak English, driving a truck, ran the DOT numbers through their program, and that DOT number was invalid. It had been rescinded. So these guys are still out here and they're going for broke. So it's happening. If you see one, you see 50 of them. And like I said, it's going to get worse before it gets better.